Hello everyone, I'm here with Eduardo Luna. He's an English teacher, he's an English speaker too, and he has over 20 years of experience with English language. And now I'm going to ask him some questions about factors influencing food trends. Now, first about economic conditions. Mr. Eduardo, how does the amount of money you have affect what you eat, and is it cheaper to prepare your own food or to eat it in restaurants?
Uh, First of all, good afternoon to everyone. According to my experience, I think that when you want to save money, the best way is to prepare your own meal at home. As going to a restaurant, you always have to pay for a bill, for transportation, and also sometimes for tips. On the other hand, when you do your grocery shopping, you have you can have the food necessary not only for a day but perhaps for a week. So in conclusion, making your food at home is way cheaper.
Yeah, thank you. Now about faster and cheaper methods of transportation. How do changes in the way food is transported affect the way people eat, and is locally grown food available in stores near you?
That is an interesting question. At the moment, there is a chain of small shops where people from the highlands or from Sierra have small shops where they sell vegetables and fruit, and you can find one every 2 or 3 blocks. That is to say, if you want to get fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, you only can get go around the corner and get some. So now the distribution is getting more convenient, it's faster, and cheaper too.
Sure, thank you. Now about the scientific research. Have advances in science or research findings affected the way you eat? And do you think food is more or less helpful today?
Uh, as far as I am concerned, there is not a way that science can make food healthier. Perhaps what scientists are trying to do now is to intensify the cultivation, the amounts of cultivation, but it's not for good. I mean, this now you can see many labels in the markets that it's genetically modified food. That is to say that this style of food has been genetically modified to be intensively cultivated or grown, and that is no guarantee of health. It's always going back in time. The better food was healthier, but nowadays it's like in large proportions trying to cope with a large amount of people. It is hard to find that you can find really healthy food under those conditions.
Yeah, that's an interesting point of view. Thank you. And now about advertising. Where are some places you see or hear ads for food, and what kinds of food? And have you ever bought food or eaten at a restaurant because of an ad?
You can see everywhere now banners on TV, on the
Mhm.
street. Right now in my town, there are big banners for fast food chain stores in the bus stops. And the second part of the question is, yes, I've felt hungry when I saw an ad of pizza when somebody's lifting the slice and the cheese is melting. So I was eager and I was waiting for over 2 days to have a good slice of pizza, and I did it because I felt like.
Yeah, thank you. Now about world cultures. Have your eating habits or preferences been influenced by other cultures? And are international restaurants available near you?
The main influence in Ecuador is probably the American culture. Now, you hear a lot of that. You have your breakfast, and after that, your brunch before lunch, and in the middle of the afternoon, you have some meals. So it's like the probably is a good habit of not eating 3 times a day, but 5 times a day, and it's something that was not seen here before, but now it's being established because of the transmission of knowledge and culture and international food. It's in my area. There's not many restaurants. Perhaps there's only one good Mexican restaurant and Peruvian seafood that I can get around, but there's not that variety as much as I would like to have.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And now the last point of view about changes in the workforce. How do you how do your work or study habits affect your families or your eating habits? Has an increase in the number of women who work full time affected meals for anyone you know?
Definitely, I can witness that. For example, in the institution where I work at, most of the staff swimming, and then they are not preparing their meals, and they live far from their homes. So the best way at lunchtime when when they have to stay is going to a near restaurant. Unfortunately, the problem is that when you go to a restaurant, they always complain about the food, and they have to go to a different restaurant. And usually they complain of the bad quality of the food over there. It's hard to find a good restaurant with good food quality. So it's affecting now the working class.
Yeah. Okay. We are very thankful to you. Well, this was about factors influencing food trends. And now we're saying goodbye. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. Bye bye.
Bye.